Hello. This is a demo of a support feedback agent that I built using Teams AI Library. The reason I built this agent was because we have a pretty small team, and we recently released the V2 of the Teams AI Library. We've been getting a lot of support questions, understandably so, in our support channel in Teams. Um, but we have a pretty small team, so what I wanted to do was answer those questions in that support channel and then feed that back into our documentation. So our documentation sort of lives here. This is where our documentation lives. And so, for example, let's say we have some MCP documentation here that's not completely comprehensive. Let's say someone asks us a question. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to pretend to be someone who, might have some questions and ask that question in a support channel. Hey, so let's say someone asks this question that they need help with integrating an MCP server into their Teams AI agent. How would I do that? So it's going to kind of look weird because I'm both asking the question and answering it, but imagine this is someone actually asking me a question. So we can invoke our documentation agent here and say, uh, actually, we can do it like this. Hey, certainly, this is documented and pass the doc agent. When you get some info around this. So notice that I didn't specifically say like, what I wanted to go look up. It should have some context from the conversation itself, and it should be able to look it up using that. All right. Finally came up with some answer. It says, something. It obviously isn't great, but it's supposed to be Model Context Protocol, but it thinks it's Microsoft Cloud for modern application. It's fine. Like, that's not the point of this thing. We'll obviously improve the documentation fetching itself. But it kind of uses the documentation to kind of give the same stuff. So you can see like how do you install it, how do you configure it. It kind of gives some details on how configuring it, things like that. So one thing that someone asked was about around inspecting. So I can ask, can you give some details on inspecting into server requests? All right. It kind of talks about you can enable it using the DevTools plugin. You have to uh, do this enable request thing. It's actually wrong. I think the some of the details here are incorrect. So I'm gonna give it the right information. So I'll probably say, "Hey, sorry, that information is incorrect," and then I'll give it some actual information. So I have some of this copied down, so I'm gonna just paste it. So I'm gonna first say, "Hey, you need to first install the inspector package." Um, Now you can imagine, like, give some more details. But you can imagine that in a support channel, I'm just telling the user, like, hey, I'm not like telling them, hey, let me go update the documentation and so on and so forth. But I'm just telling them this is what you got to do. Um, and so there's like 4 or 5 different steps that um, need to be um, kind of followed to set up the inspector flag. So now that we have this, we ideally what we would want is for the documentation to be updated with this new information. So I can actually say, doc agent, can you take this new information and update my documentation for MCP servers? So, all right, it says the documentation is updated. You can follow these things. You can follow these enhanced guidelines. Okay, cool. So it says something has been updated. And then I can actually ask it, hey, agent, can you please create a pull request? I can do it. Okay, so now what it's actually doing is going out and creating a pull request for the specific thing. So I'm going to bring out our repo. So you can see that there's no pull request right now. This new, but then if we go here, oh, looks like there's a new pull request that was created, was pushed. Give it a second. All right, a new pull request was created. It even like links it for us. And then if we go in, we can see that it has some description, has a title, and if we go into the files changed in the MCP server file, it gives us the information that we had placed. So this kind of tightens the the feedback loop from support channel to updating our documentation. And this isn't just like, oh, you sent it once and then now you have to go out and like fix it. You can actually ask it to make some changes. And then so one thing, some change I can make is like let's ask just for fun. Just for fun, let me make these new instructions sound like a pirate. So what I want to demo here is that, sorry, one second. Yeah, what I want to demo is like with the same context thread, it's able to update the files as well. And it's supposed to it's able to take the conversation thread and make changes to the same pull request. So just give it a second. We can see there's a refresh button. All right, if we hit it, we can see that there's a lot of this changes have been made to make it sound like a pirate. Obviously, this is just a demo, but you can see that, sort of commits have happened to iteratively improve the documentation. And of course, I'm showing this just from Teams, but the same documentation agent could be um, triggered from GitHub itself. And I can tell it like, hey, can you make these changes? And it should be able to go ahead and do that. Um, yeah, and that's a quick demo of the documentation agent. Internally, the way it works is it actually uses a documentation agent which only knows about docs and a GitHub agent which can interact with GitHub. And they kind of work together to be able to sort of do this whole um tighten the feedback loop like I showed you in this demo. Cool. Thank you.